Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Fresh Crits of Melbourne. It's Friday afternoon, the track is damp, and we've got a ton of world-class riders here at the Tour of Bright Criterium, held on Friday night, the day before the Tour of Bright actual race took place. Now, I entered this race, I hadn't checked the start list, I hadn't checked anything. I got there very early because the girls were on before this, and there was a few riders around. I was like, oh, little Fresh Crits could be up for a podium here. And then all the hitters rocked up, and this is a perfect shot right here. Let's talk around them. We've got Blake Quick, we've got Plappy, obviously, we've got Joe Pidcock, Fergus Browning. There's a whole bunch of other proper hitters here. So if you do spot a few more, chuck their names in the comments below. I'm sure they'd love a bit of a pump up. What an awesome opportunity this is to race with all these guys. Never would I have ever thought I'd be lining up on a start line with this stacked of a field, and it all comes down to the Alpine Cycling Club for going out of their way to, I would hate to know the amount of logistics they would have gone through to get this and get all the permits sorted to essentially shut down the entire main street so hubbards like me can have a bit of a rip around with proper hitters. And look at all the people that are out and about. There's people on the sidelines everywhere shouting and cheering and carrying on. Beers were flowing, which is awesome to see, and I just hope come next year when this event runs again, there's going to be even more people on the sideline cheering us on. So this is the bottom corner here. We've got one lap of neutral to go, and man, I don't know if you heard it before, we've got Aidan Buttigieg here on the left, Malta national champion. I wanted to have a bit of a chat to him, but I was, quote, too scared of crashing, because could you imagine being the guy that brought down Luke Plapp, the Australian national champion? It probably wouldn't go down too well. I might have got a few clicks on that video, but that's pretty much banned from cycling. You can see it's actually quite dark, and that's why the camera is bouncing around a little bit. I think this race took place at around 7:30 at night, but well, who cares? What an awesome opportunity to race against these proper hitters. And the funny thing is how comfortable they are riding shoulder to shoulder, bar to bar. Like, I thought I was pretty comfortable and confident on the bike, but man, I was freaking out in front of me. Like, I was so nervous of bumping into people, and you often see me give up a lot of wheels just because I was a little bit nervous about how close they were, and that's the difference between a hubbard like me and these World Tour pros. Now let's talk a little bit about the race. We're coming into the final lap of neutral. This bit is quite technical. It's a bit of a chicane as we navigate through the roundabout here. We take a sweeping left-hander, but as you see on the road just in front, there'll be a yellow mark on the road there. That is a speed hump. So you'll see riders taking different positions to get over, and this part of the circuit is quite bumpy, hence why the camera is jumping around. We get to the end of this little part, we make this quite sharp left-hand corner. Here's probably the sharpest one of the circuit, that you'll gradually see me taking it faster and faster as I get more comfortable and needing to take more risks to stay with the bunch. And then you're smashing it straight up that berg. And smashing we're about to do as we finish the neutral, the flag will drop, and now it is full gas, 800 watts as I'm trying to stay with the wheels. And what you'll notice actually is how I never actually move up places. I'm always just getting one or two riders past me. The field was so stacked, it was so fast, it was strung out the entire time, it was so hard to move up. And to make matters worse, I think I had a little bit of, as I'm going neck and neck with Aidan here. Yeah, so I had some contamination on the rear rotor, which meant every time I wanted to do some trail braking, like just riding the rear brake as you come into that corner or through the corner, it was screeching. So not a good look for me in cameras. Yeah, not a good look at all. But you've just got to put that out of your mind as we're 4 minutes into this race. 28 Ks to go as we come into the bumpier section of the course. But I'm in good position. I'm happy with this. Probably sitting around 20th, 15th, 20th wheel. But as soon as you see riders start to freewheel like this, you know the swarm is coming. As I go to the rear cam, you look at all the riders coming and swarming me because they're not happy with the pace and they're looking for an opportunity to move up in this race, and that's exactly what we do. I love the rear cam footage as it shows Aidan going shoulder to shoulder with Joey Pidcock, Tom Pidcock's brother, as we come around this corner here, and that is straight on the gas. Everybody is pushing 1,000 watts in order to stay with the bunch. And even though I'm pushing 1,000 watts, I'm still getting passed by riders. It was incredible the amount of horsepower that was on this circuit. Everyone's digging super, super deep, gritting their teeth in order to stay with the bunch. Look at this kid, he's going super deep to stay with the move. We all are. You can see Max there with the red Trek, black helmet, no sunnies. He's also in the mix doing what he can to stay within this race. We come around this top corner. I'm going to go back to the front cam, and it's flat chat through the main streets of Bright. The next part of the circuit's going to be that chicane part. Really hard to take that corner quite fast. I kind of got my line in later on in the race. You really got to hit that apex there as I get bumped off the line by number 38, who is Ryland Short from Balmoral Cycling Club. But look, to be honest, because this is A grade, I have 100% confidence in these riders. They're in A grade for a reason. Yes, they have about 1 billion watts, but also they've been racing a fair while to get to this sort of level. So I have a fair amount of faith and trust in these guys as I wiped some water off the lens. I didn't say before, but the track was, it was actually raining. It was raining the entire Tour of Bright, but it was raining about 40 to 50 minutes before this race. The girls probably had it quite damp, and B grade it was really wet before them too. So there are moments and there are parts of this track that are quite damp, and you just have to be really mindful of that. As you rail corners, you need to be mindful of how dry the track is at any given moment. In the rear cam there, Dylan Proctor-Parker, really, really strong rider. I think he's under 23, correct me in the comments. Had a nasty crash in the Melbourne Awarney a couple of years back, but is back. He's put on some muscle, and he's absolutely flying at the moment, which is good to see. Now, keep an eye on number 27 on the left. He's on a white Pinarello. He gets very, very close to the fence after the roundabout. 3, 2, 1, just clips it there. The whole fence started to shake, and my life flashed before my eyes as I saw this fence falling in front of me. So, yeah, it was a very hot contested race. I could let this whole video play out, and what I will do is release the entire race with an overlay in full. So stay tuned for that drop in the next couple of days. But we might skip forward in the race and highlight some other areas of interest. And before I do that, please remember to hit that subscribe, like, chuck some comments in the comment box below, and if you want to throw a few shekels my way, there's a little thanks button there. Buy myself a coffee, be pretty nice. We'll skip forward in the race. You know those feelings when you feel like your heart rate's peaking, you look down at your gum and you realise, man, I'm only 10 minutes into this race. That's exactly how I'm feeling right now. 173 beats, not that high, but already gaps are starting to show in wheels in front of me, and again, I cannot manage to move up in this race. I'm constantly getting riders come past me. Up this berg, I'm doing, almost 500, 600 watts to stay with the main group, hoping to, if I back off a little bit, as we crest the hill, everybody sits up, and I try to use, limit the matches that I burn heading up this hill, knowing full well that the group's going to sit up. You just see Tom Sharp, number 25, scream around the outside. He's probably only picked up 6, 7, 8 spots there as he comes on the inside. I'm hoping that I can just pick up places when people start freewheeling, when the gap bunches up. Like, I don't mind that sort of movement to trying to save my matches, because I don't have the same horsepower as the rest of the guys in this bunch does. As we come through the chicanes again, taking nice lines, keeping out of trouble, and still making sure that I can hold the wheel as we come around to this bumpy part in the section where everybody seems to want to slam it. And you can see by looking in the rear cam, there are gaps starting to open up everywhere, and it's so important to just be able to stay with the main bunch for as long as you can. Let's skip a little bit further in this race, pick up where some more action is. Stay tuned. I've skipped a couple of minutes in with still over 20 kilometers left in this race. I've actually found myself on Plappy's wheel. Now, I'm not too sure if this is a good thing or a bad thing. Either Plappy's having a shocking day, or I'm riding out of my skin, or Plappy's having a bit of a Rico until he launches another monster attack to try to take the win of this crit race. Have a guess which option it must be out of those three. But I've had the opportunity to ride on Plappy's wheel a couple of times now. He saw the last video at Hawthorn. Any time there's a World Tour rider, I do whatever I can to follow them around the course like a bad smell, hence Simunk, Plappy. There's a whole bunch of others as well in there. because you just learn so much about how they go about racing, how they move up, how comfortable they look in the bunch. And if you can take away just 1% of the things of what they do in the race, then you've done well. And the other thing is, I actually can't think of any sport where you can participate in a event or a race or whatever with World Tour level athletes. Comment below if you can think of any, but I can't think off the top of my head. It's just an amazing opportunity. So yeah, I will undoubtedly follow them around like a bad smell and just see what they do. Obviously keeping in mind, give him plenty of space, because you don't want to be that guy that takes down the national champion. So you can see me just brake check a little bit into that corner. So again, this is the part of the course where everyone kind of soft pedals, because knowing full well they're coming into that chicane area. What I might do, flick into the rear cam, you can see the smaller group of riders that are left behind us, which means we've had a few riders fall off the back, but unfortunately for the viewers at home, the majority of the race is up the road, and these are the stragglers that are left on my wheel, hoping that I can hold it as we come through that bumpy section. We've got Otis here from Crane Tech Racing, who's been on my wheel for the majority of the day. As we come into that bottom corner now, we'll flick to the front cam, where a bit of a disaster takes place. Lockie Stewart ends up clipping a pedal mid-corner. You see him there skidding across the ground. He clips a pedal in that corner and goes down, the poor lad, but it's still race on for the rest of us. That's a nasty crash, and he took off a little bit of bark, a little bit of skin, but nothing broken, which is fine. He ended up, as recording of this video, actually won the Under-17 State Crit Championship. So all things well that end well. As we come to the top of the corner, everyone sits up. I try to take up some places here, but decide against it. You saw me kind of look into that outside lane to keep the speed as we come into this downhill section, but there was not many gaps to be had there. Heart rate's at 180 beats, so I'm starting to cook now, and I'm really starting to struggle to hold the wheel. And inevitably, I find myself, the more cooked I get, the more risks I'm willing to take in order to stay with the wheel in front, I suppose. So you'll see later on in this race, as the minutes go by, as the Ks tick down, I start hitting this bottom corner faster and faster and faster. Now, there's two trains of thought around this. Am I taking more risks, or am I just getting a little bit more comfortable and confident taking this corner? Maybe it's a combination of both. We come around this corner, 31 kilometers an hour I took that. It'd be interesting to see how quick I took that at the start of this race. I don't think it was as fast. Back on the gas again as we surge up this hill. Heart rate's going to start peaking a lot quicker now as I get more and more fatigued, and I'm trying just to super glue myself to the rider in front, Jack Edwards, number 29. And you can see once again we hit the crest of this hill, and everyone's got to be blowing 180 beats. The riders bunch up, and as it naturally, as the race progresses, they start pushing, keeping on the gas as we come down this bottom part of the hill here. But let's skip a little bit further into this race when things are starting to blow apart. Stay tuned. 16 Ks to go. We come around that corner again at some high speeds, straight on the gas, and I'm actually have been suffering for a while now, but I use this moment to burn an extra match to move up in this race. I've had a glance behind, and I'm really at the back of the field. So there's a nice little passing lane on the right, so I keep on the power with the hope I can move up in this race and essentially sacrifice some extra positions as we climb back up the hill on the backside. And I'm in with good company. Number 36, Blake Quick, has found himself further back in the race as he'd probably rather be, but probably doing a Luke Plapp and just getting some recovery in before he has another attack on the climb back up the berg on the front straight. Coming through these corners here, nice and fast. Heart rate 177. Man, it hasn't been able to get below that 170 beats for a long time. It's been constantly on the pedals, really hard, stretching the limits, and you can see this is where Brendan Green's starting to stretch me, and little gaps are starting to form now. And when the heart rate's peaking like this, I'm having to take extra risks in order to stay with the bunch in front. So as we come around this corner, I'm hitting it at almost 40 kilometers an hour, exiting well over 30 Ks just to stay with the group as drips of sweat fall from my face and there are little gaps opening up in the rear cam as well. Everybody is struggling to stay with the bike race with 22 minutes in. There's still 20 minutes left, so it's danger signs for all of us battlers and stragglers at the back of the bike race here. Finally getting to the crest of the hill again. The swarm, it sits up, but now things are starting to really stretch out. Look at single file we are, and sprinting out of the corners on the downhill section. It was only 10 minutes ago when we were freewheeling this part, and now I'm exiting into the chicane part at 180 beats. This is not good signs at all. I reckon that big surge I did 2 laps ago is really starting to cost me, but I just need to stay relaxed and try to do what I can to bring that heart rate down. So there's a few things that I can do. Keep nice and close to the rider in front of me, brake late coming into that corner, and pray. Pray that the group's going to sit up, because look how strung out it is. It's been full gas for essentially 23 minutes. There's been no real time in the race where people have sat up. So hopefully, if I'm feeling fatigued, the rest of the guys are feeling fatigued. Enter that corner nice and fast with a nice exit speed, coming out at almost 30 k's an hour, which is good to see. But you're straight on the pedals again. But if you catch a glimpse to the riders right at the front of this bike race, no one's really sprinting, and the group is starting to swell out. This is good for me. I'm cooked, so this is an opportune time for me to try to move up in this bike race, which will allow me to drop a few wheels when we hit this berg again. But the problem is, everyone else has the same idea. There is no real way I can squeeze through this bunch to move on up. And with a heart rate of 182 beats, there's not much room there either. But the game plan stays the same. Try to get that heart rate down, try to recover as much as you can, find those little micro moments to rest for when we hit that main drag again up on that berg. How good are the crowds? Look at everyone supporting the race. It's great to see. We love that. You got a glimpse there of the guys in front. There are splits everywhere within the bunch. I'm following number 26, Harrington Bebington here, but he's already starting to put a little bit of a gap in me as well. So not good signs here at all. Again, we come into this corner, and once again, I'm trying to brake late, try to make sure I hold the speed. We enter this corner, 36 kilometers, coming out at 31, 30 Ks. That's it's faster than the last one, and then straight away, we're on the gas again. Now, it's not the first time I found myself in a situation like this, on the brink of absolutely exploding and falling apart in this bike race, but the way that helps me work through it is just count down the laps. We're just going to get 1 lap down, 1 lap down, 1 lap down. Because in cycling, you know, anything can actually happen. All it takes is maybe, unfortunately, there's a crash in the front where you can move up. Maybe there's an opportunity where, you know, half the bunch are feeling as cooked as you. So you've just got to try to push past those feelings of you feeling absolutely cooked, and just work 1 lap at a time, and trying to find, as I've said the entire video, is find those micro little moments where you can get a bit of a break. Be smart through your cornering, be smart through your pedaling stroke, focus on anything else that takes your mind off your lungs absolutely screaming in your chest. Because if we take a look at Max in the rear cam, he's looking about how I feel. Absolutely cooked, but again, he's able to suffer, and that's what this is all about, is being able to suffer as long as you can, because at the end of the day, everybody is hurting as much as you are. And look how small the bunch is now. There's only 7 or so blokes on my wheel. The rest of the bike race is in front of us. And oh no, Brendan Green's had an issue here. He's dropped his chain off the front chain ring right at a crucial part of this race, but was able to get his hand down there, flick the chain back onto his chain ring, and rejoin the race. What a pro move that was, especially when he's under pressure right at the back end of this race. With just under 12 kilometers left, anything could still happen, but it's so strung out now as more and more riders are starting to feel the pain. And talking about pain, let's go check out this next clip with Oscar Gallagher inflicting some pain on another rider. Let's check that one out now. Only skipped a couple of minutes in. Stay tuned, number 26, Harry Babington, as well as Oscar Gallagher, number 6. Blake Quick goes across, absolutely chops Harry out, and then Pat Eddy throws a jab into Oscar Gallagher. It's all kicking off 27 minutes into this race. I hope you enjoyed that one. I had to throw that clip in, went back and found that one. No harm in that. Bit of a dodgy line there from Oscar, straight out of the Jasper Philipsen playbook. But we'll skip forward just half a lap to where Brendan Green rejoins the race after dropping his chain on the previous lap. See you there. But gaps are starting to open up more and more with 10Ks, just over 10Ks left. I'm doing everything I possibly can to stay within this race, but you can see, look at the rear cam. There's a lot of tired riders. I am ready to pull the ripcord, punch the clutch in and prepare for tomorrow, but if I'm still in this race, I may as well keep giving it a crack, and I'm definitely still in this race. Yes, at the very back of it, but still in it, which is still good to see. We come around this corner, I get past, I can't even defend my own wheel, get passed by a couple of riders. Max is in the rear cam. He's also struggling with me, but we've been at it now for just over 30 minutes, smashing up that berg, full gas. There's been no time for stopping, no time for recovering. Straight through the chicane, back on the gas, but heart rate's at 176. My legs are feeling sore right now, and this is when the acceleration really starts to tax you because you've had only about 20 seconds of recovery on that descent when you're back on the pedals again. Fortunately for me, everyone seems like they're sitting up a little bit here, which is good to see, but you can see the line of riders in front. They've just gone round the corner, and I'm coming in probably 10 to 12 seconds later. I felt a guy coming up on the inside, so I shut that door on him as I rounded that corner there, and again, straight on the gas. My legs don't have the same snap as they did before. I can no longer get anywhere above, 700 watts. They're pretty much pinned at 600, and that's all I've got to give. You can see Tom in the rear cam staying nice and small, sitting in my draft. He's playing a nice bike race as well. Tongue's hanging out. He's not feeling too good either. So the door I shut on Ryland was wide open on that corner as he just came on the inside and took that position straight off me, and fair enough, I probably deserved it. Again, we're going straight into the chicane. My head is down. I'm in all sorts. 177 beats. Feel like I've been saying this now 1,000 times, but like I said before, you just gotta, if you're still in this race, you just gotta hang in there. But as we enter that corner, that gap is too wide. Tom has realised the danger there. He comes around me and I'm trying to snap into his draft. I look behind, I see absolute daylight between me and Max. I'm hoping that I can just stay with him in this last corner, but I've got nothing left to give. I remember this actually quite well, just thinking maybe I can just hang on if I brake super late. Watch me reach for the levers really late. Fast as I've hit that corner, coming in at entrance is 40. Took that corner at about 35 kilometers an hour, taking high risks. I'm trying to do everything that I can, but it's all little too late. I can't spin the legs fast enough, only getting up to 500 watts to get up this berg. I'm shaking my head. I am in absolute all sorts here, and so is Max in the rear cam. This could be night for us. But I can walk away saying that I've given it my absolute everything with just over 8Ks left. It's disappointing that I couldn't see the entire race out, but I've been fighting since 10 minutes into this race. It's been 22 minutes of me absolutely suffering for your own entertainment. So if you do like it, do give us a thumbs up and a subscribe. It all is very appreciated. As I see the entire peloton just right off in the distance. And if you've been there, let me know, because it is the most horrible feeling knowing that you can't give anything. The best you've got is about 300 watts and your heart's screaming. But at this moment, you can see in the rear cam, coming into the front, it's Neil decided that he needs to get on the front and do some work. Where has he been this entire race? We could have had him helping me up that berg, but the amount of strength this guy has to be like, oh, okay, there's a bit of a gap, I probably should close it, and does it in a few pedal strokes is very, very impressive. Max gets on the front to see if he can help me out, try to bridge that gap, but it's all little too late. There's the heart rate's still not fully maxed, although it certainly feels like it. I think it probably is a bit of a combination of it being so humid as well. I really struggle in the heat, so if your body can't cool down, that's all over. So that's probably another little added issue there that I need to work through in the future. And if you have any tips or comments about heat training, let me know in the comments below. I'm sure there's a few people that are in a similar situation to me. that don't do so well in the heat. But that's pretty much race over for me now, I think. 7Ks to go. Oh, it's so close yet so far. Our only hope here is that we can form a little gruppetto group to try to bridge across, but it's too fast. It's gone too far. That's pretty much it. Alex from St. George is doing a pretty nice turn on the front to see if he can bridge us across, but to be honest, I think it's all a little too late. The main peloton is just about to go around the front. We're about to catch Max. That is race over, ladies and gentlemen. I might just sprint to the last lap as we get a bit of a cheer from the audience. So we'll go from there and wrap the video up. Thanks again for watching. See you in a second. How good is this? We just got the bell lap. We've got Max in the rear cam, Alex is on the front, and myself. We've all been kind of rolling turns, avoiding getting the red flag and called off the race. We've been riding like this for maybe 10 minutes now, just plodding around the course, getting heaps of cheers and heckles from everyone, which has been fantastic. But like, why not finish the race off? We're coming into the chicane here, and just look at the crowds everywhere. It's fantastic. I cannot wait. Watching this back, I cannot wait for Tour of Bright next year. I hope they get to run the crit again. Question to the audience. Question without notice. You've been riding like this in this group. Do you sprint for the final on the final lap? Yes or no? Let me know what your comments are below. I think it's the most Hubbard thing ever, but I love it. I love having a bit of a sprint. So, and especially when you're going head to head with Max, he's an absolute powerhouse. So I'm going to always give a crack and see if I can hold him off in the sprint. Here it is, last lap. He lights it up. I'm like, oh, if you're going to have a crack, I'm having a crack too. I can't let this little Grom win. Doing it for all the masters. Look how dark it is as I managed to get over him on the line. What a fantastic finish to the bike race. It was so much fun. Thanks everybody again for watching. If you do like this stuff, hit that like button, subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Stay tuned because some sick videos are coming up. Yeah, make sure you get subscribed. And I will see you on the next one. Ciao.